As a very type A girly and schedule routine oriented person myself, I always thought that when I became a mom, I would be a very schedule oriented mom in the sense that we would have my child on a very strict schedule starting from birth. And then I realized that when you have a baby, they kind of call the shots. And when I let go of like the thought of a schedule, it's made such a difference in how I actually enjoy our day. However, there are a couple of things that I'm doing for my own sanity in terms of a routine to help us establish like bedtime and to also do more like wake and nap windows during the day so that I'm able to at least get things done and I kind of know that he's going to nap around certain times of the day. Especially since I am exclusively breastfeeding, I need to like also know when I need to feed him, if that makes sense. But these are the things that we're doing. Number one is I try not to let him nap longer than 2.5 hours during the day. I'll just gently wake him up if he's still sleeping at that 2.5 hour mark. How I gently wake him up is usually just by changing his diaper, which is usually needed after a 2.5 hour nap anyways. Typically then we'll feed and I try my very hardest to keep him awake after we feed. And then I'll do things like tummy time on my chest, putting him on the floor. So basically the like routine is nap, feed, and then play. And then usually he starts to get tired again within 45 to 60 minutes. That's another thing that I didn't know as a first-time mom is I just kind of assumed that when he got tired, he would go to sleep. So there were a couple of times in the last week or two where he was awake for like 2 hours, which I felt like was very long for a 5-week-old. And I asked my mom about it and she's like, no, you have to put him to sleep. I did not know that they just didn't go to sleep during their wake window, like once they got tired. So typically I won't let him do a wake window any longer than like 60 to 90 minutes at the most. Then at bedtime, he gave us the longest stretch we've ever had last night. He gave us 6 hours. It was lovely. And then I jinxed myself by being like, oh, maybe we're sleeping more because then he was up every hour after that until 6 a.m. this morning. I've realized that baby sleep is just something that you have to really roll with. But what we do is we do a bath every other night because he does have really dry skin. We're dealing with some cradle cap right now. So every other night we do a bath and we'll start that at like 8:15. Once he's out of the bath, so typically between like 8:30 and 8:45, I will nurse him. And then while he's nursing, Zach will put his owlet sock on somewhere between like 8:45 and 9:15 is kind of his ideal bedtime. Then we just hope and pray that he stays asleep until at least 1 or 2 a.m. Anywhere from that like 4 to 6 hour stretch is lovely. We don't always get that every night. So if you are a first time mom or someone who's pregnant and the schedules and all of these like sleep training, everything really stresses you out, highly recommend just tuning into your baby's cues and figuring out a schedule that works well for the two of you. So, you just got to learn to rock with it once your life is ran by a teeny tiny human.